All right, we're here at the house of one of our train equipment reps, home where she lives, and there was a gas issue, and the gas company came out and turned off the gas to the furnace. So let's go see if we can get it fixed for them. All right, so I went ahead and turned on the heat downstairs and up here. This is one of these little things with zoning in it. We've got a video of, a couple of videos actually, of some of these other ones that we did in this same townhome community here. So it looks like before she bought the place, somebody put a train air conditioner on and left the original furnace. And so the gas company came out. They smelled gas last night, somebody that was here. And so they have the single stage systems with zoning, which we're not crazy about, but it's here. So when the gas company came, they just turned off the gas to the furnace, which they were nice enough not to impose total meter shutdown. So we'll cut the gas back on and see if we can find where it's leaking at without using Big Blue or the Diversitech version of it, Pro Bubble. It's just what I have. Let's see if we can find anything. All right, so everything that would be able to leak without the system running, I've soaped this several times. Got it sitting on that flare. All of these fittings. This flare as well. And I'm not finding anything from how they could have had a gas smell. So it's going to have to be something to do with beyond the valve, or the valve when it's up and running. So it might take a minute for us to figure out what's been going on here. But the gas company has a very sophisticated sniffer, and you know, there's no telling what they found or how. So it's not quite as easy for us to narrow down as it is for them. But when they turn that off and that's all, then it's something beyond the stop there, the shut off, something beyond that. So it might take us a minute to figure out what it is that's leaking. Because I don't see it yet. There's an awful lot of dope, pipe dope, on this joint here. But none of this looks to have ever been touched. I'm not finding anything this way. So we're going to fire it up and see if we can watch it and see if we get the smell. See if we can figure out what's going on. So I guess these thermostats are all going to have to boot back up. Good thing I'm slim, so I could fit in these places here. Yeah, it's going to be just a minute. All right, so while we're waiting on this thing to boot up, there it goes. So let's go upstairs and watch it fire up. I've turned on the little testo detector here. I carry it around with me and make sure what they were smelling, whether they actually smelled raw gas or what. But you know, the gas company is usually pretty smart and accurate. So they say the gas valve is leaking. But let's fire this thing up and see what happens. Should start any minute now. All right. Watch these flames when the fan comes on, of course. See if we see any activity there. And of course, everything looks good. Nothing happened. Heat exchanger cells as far as what the fan would affect. It's possible the lady misunderstood what the technician from the gas company was saying. I think he may have said just have them come test out the furnace and see what's going on. Let's walk around the living space a little bit. All right, well, I'm not finding anything. The only thing I've been able to do was get this thing to go from 0 to 1. And parts per million. That's pretty hard to keep one on 0. I don't get alarmed until this thing's up to 4 or 5, and you know, 9 parts per million is kind of an industry standard to say, no, we're turning the appliance off. But all right, so I did find the Piedmont Natural Gas tag that they hang, or they give you. I'm just covering the homeowner's name and address here. But the note they wrote, which is hard to read, I think says, orifice is leaking by possibly that's DW, double wall. I don't know. Orifice is leaking. Now the only orifices that I'm going to know of is the, you know, the jets, but we'll go look at that since we found this. Furnace, whatever that is, off and red tagged. So maybe that's supposed to be turned off, not sure. So let's go take a look and see if that points us any better, but that's not, it's not much of a note there. And we keep going from 0 to 1 part per million. I don't have a lot of concern out of that, you know, out of that detector anyway. So let's see what you could possibly be talking about. The only orifices I know of are these. And they don't look to have been soaped or anything. I don't think that would bubble if they were. Oh, look at that. Well, look at that. There is a gas leak right there. Now it seems to me that would just get sucked right into the mix here. I mean, I just do not believe that that produced a leak that somebody could have smelled in the house. It's hard for me to believe, but it is definitely bubbling. So I'm glad the gas man left that note. Leak is a gas leak. These orifices should not be leaking. I just don't see how that wouldn't be absorbed into the mix here, but let's fix that and go from there. Boy, now you want to talk about something really slight. I just don't see how that could produce a smell, but that orifice is leaking right there on the main burner. You can see it bubbling. Let's fix that. All right, let's see if we can catch a break and get to this one easy without taking a bunch of stuff apart. So what I'm going to try to do is just barely slip this, oh yeah, back enough. And I think I'll go ahead and take that jet out. I should have just brought a 1/2 inch or 7/16 what it looks like. I think I'll go ahead and pull it out, clean it, look at it, put some pipe dope on it, put it back in. I tell you what, it really was not all that loose. I expected it to be easy. My little ratcheting wrench up here, that would have been nice on this. I expected it to be easy to come out, thinking maybe it had been loose all these years, and I don't see any dope on it, and I never really have on jets before. And I think the idea behind that is you don't want anything getting in there. So just as an anti-seize and a lubricant, and to make it easier to get it tighter inside, I think I'm going to put some dope on it, but I'm going to be very careful not to get it to the end of the threads, and just put it on this first couple of threads and hope it doesn't crawl. But you really don't want to put anything on these. At least that's my opinion. But I'm going to put a little something on it, just barely. And that one is not opened. Well, do the little trick I learned in Army. So like I say, I really don't want to take a chance of any of this dope getting down the thread any. So I'm going to put it up high here, and then I'm going to wipe this off on the end of the threads there, where it cannot, hopefully cannot get so. May not even be enough to even say I did anything, but hoping to get a little bit of lubricating quality out of it just to help me get it good and tight. It's hard to get it started. Now, I'm not going to touch the other two. Most mechanics, as well as myself, are kind of tend to be, you know, have a tendency to go over it all. These other two that weren't leaking, I'm just not going to crank down on them. I'm not going to touch them. This is such an odd spot to have a leak like that. And I'm going to obviously soap them all again. With it up and running just like we had before. And see if we have eliminated the leak. All right. So, let's get it fired back up and see what we get. All right. It's been on and burning for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. So that's just very delicately down on them, and let's see if we got rid of the leak. Tell you what, my hat's off to the gas man for finding that. Learn something every day on these jobs, almost every day, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if I ever would have found that. I don't like it when the foam comes out. Yeah, like I say, I just don't know if I ever would have found that. that could have been producing a smell in the house. I'm just having a hard time believing that. But if that was indeed it, shouldn't smell anymore. We definitely did fix a gas leak. I just can't believe that's something you could smell in the house. But let's put the cover back on and set them on a moderate temperature and leave them. I'd say we're okay now. All right, so I think I figured out how that raw gas smell was actually getting in the house. Is those doors are kind of leaky, you know, and the blower door right there could be drawing the, you know, gas is heavy and it'll settle down on the bottom of the cabinet inside there in that cavity, and the blower door can draw it into the rest of the house. That's the only thing I've come up with as to how there was no other leak anywhere and they smelled gas in the house. So, you know, standing there looking at that and not thinking about that was, you know, a little less thorough than I'd like to consider myself. But as soon as I started heading towards the truck, I started thinking, you know, that's the return right there, and it's probably not perfect, you know. This cabinet's pretty leaky, so it's drawing some air from right there, and that heavy gas laying in the cabinet. So that's probably how it got the smell in the house, and it doesn't take much gas to eventually produce a smell, and I guess on a long cycle, that raw gas got down there and they smelled it. So let's hope so anyway. It'll be a couple days before that leaves my mind. If I don't hear back from anybody there in a couple of days, I'll forget about it. But anyway, some of you guys might have thought of that as well when you were watching the video, and I did not until I was done and walked away with it. So that's probably what was going on. So hopefully that resolves that issue. It was a little bit of an odd one. I don't see that many like that. I don't think I've ever even found one like that before. So 30 years in the business and still running into new stuff. So let's go to the next one. Thanks for watching.